Some say cats are mysterious, but if you've ever watched your little one curl up by the window, or press their tiny nose into your hand, you know they aren't hiding from you. They're trusting you with everything. And that trust extends to the food you give them. Every bite they take is a piece of their health, their energy, their future. But here's the heartbreaking truth: not all cat food is made with love. Some of it hides secrets so dark that if your cat could speak, they'd beg you never to pour it into their bowl again. So tonight, let's sit together and uncover the worst cat food in the world. Not to scare you, but to protect the tiny heartbeat that curls against yours. Because your cat deserves more than just food. They deserve safety, care, and the kind of nourishment that says, "I want you with me for a very long time." Number 1. The hidden grain trap. When you glance at a shiny bag of cat food, you might see pictures of salmon, chicken, or tender beef. But here's the secret the label doesn't want you to notice. Often, the very first ingredient isn't meat at all. It's corn, or wheat, or soy. Cheap fillers that are meant to stretch the company's profit, not stretch your cat's life. To us, it may sound harmless. Corn is just a plant, right? But for cats who are obligate carnivores, grains are like empty promises. They don't fuel their wild hearts, their sharp instincts, or the graceful muscles that carry them across the room like liquid shadow. Instead, grains can weigh them down. They raise blood sugar, pack on extra pounds, and leave your cat hungry for something their body truly needs. It's like giving a child candy for dinner, sweet in the moment but quietly harmful over time. Have you ever noticed your cat eating and eating, yet still looking at you with eyes that say, "I'm not satisfied"? That's not greed. That's their body whispering, "This isn't the food I was born for." And the saddest part? These grains often aren't the golden corn you imagine from summer fields. They're low-quality, genetically modified, sometimes stored for so long they collect dangerous toxins that could silently hurt your cat's liver. When you scoop that kibble, you may think you're giving love. But if grains dominate the bowl, what your cat receives is closer to betrayal, even though you never meant it that way. Number 2. The meat that isn't love. On the label, it might sound comforting: meat meal, animal byproduct, chicken meal. Words that seem to promise protein, nourishment, the kind of strength your cat's wild ancestors thrived on. But behind those words hides a truth most cat parents never hear. Meat meal often doesn't mean fresh chicken breast or tender fish. It can mean the leftovers no one else wanted, bones ground to dust, feathers, diseased tissue, even animals who were never meant to end up in a bowl. Cooked at blistering temperatures until every trace of life and goodness is stripped away. What remains is not a feast. It's a shadow of food. A powdery mix so far from what your cat's body longs for that it almost feels cruel. And yet, it is poured into bags, sealed with glossy pictures of salmon and roasted chicken, and sold as if it were love. Imagine your cat, soft, trusting, leaning their head into your hand. Now imagine giving them a plate filled with scraps from suffering animals, broken down so far they carry no warmth, no healing, no spark of life. Your cat cannot say, "This hurts me." They cannot push the bowl away. All they can do is eat because they trust you. And sometimes that trust is betrayed not by you, but by the companies who hide these secrets in fine print. The saddest part? These meals are considered legal. They pass regulations. But legality doesn't equal love. And love is the only thing our cats truly deserve on their plates. Number 3. The fat that burns slowly. At first glance, animal fat sounds natural. After all, cats in the wild would eat every part of their prey, savoring the richness that fuels their sleek coats and fiery energy. But in many commercial cat foods, what's labeled as animal fat is not the warm, nourishing kind. It's often a mix: scraps of fat from rendering plants, blended with recycled oils once used in fast food fryers, stripped of purity, drenched in chemicals just to keep it from spoiling. These fats don't heal. They smolder quietly inside your cat's body, like smoke curling through a room you can't escape. Over time, they chip away at the very heart of your cat's health, their cells, their liver, their energy. And to make it worse, these fats are preserved with additives like BHA or BHT, chemicals so harsh, some countries have banned them. Yet here they still find their way into the bowls of the animals we love most. Have you ever stroked your cat's fur and noticed it losing its silky shine? Or watched them slow down sooner than you expected, their steps a little heavier, their play a little less? Sometimes the answer is not age. It's food that was never worthy of their trust. Because when your cat licks their paw, curls by your side, and rests their tiny face against your arm, they are saying, "I trust what you give me." And it is our quiet responsibility to make sure what goes into that bowl is not betrayal wrapped in pretty packaging. Number 4. The colors of deception. If you've ever peeked inside a bag of kibble and noticed reds, oranges, or little vegetable-shaped pieces, you might have smiled and thought, "Oh, that looks healthy." But here's the secret: your cat doesn't care about the colors. They don't see food the way we do. Those bright reds and yellows? They're not for your cat at all. They're for you. Companies dye cat food to make it look appealing to human eyes, to trick us into believing there are carrots, peas, or fresh cuts of meat inside. But the truth is far darker. Those artificial colors are chemicals. Some linked to hyperactivity, allergies, even cancers in both humans and animals. And the flavors? Often sprayed onto lifeless kibble just to convince your cat it tastes like meat. Imagine eating cardboard dusted with artificial chicken powder. Would that truly nourish you? Your cat, with their delicate whiskers and ancient instincts, deserves better. Yet many of them, hungry and trusting, eat the colorful lies without knowing the cost. The saddest irony is this: the more beautiful the kibble looks to us, the further it drifts from what our cats really need. Because a true meal for a cat isn't painted in rainbow colors. It's simple, honest, made of real meat and love, nothing more. Number 5. Fillers disguised as food. Sometimes what fills the biggest part of a kibble bag isn't food at all. It's waste. Byproducts from crops, leftovers from factories, the parts no human would ever eat. They have gentle names: wheat middlings, brewer's rice, corn gluten meal. Words that sound almost wholesome. But behind them is emptiness. These are not rich grains harvested with care. They're the sweepings from mill floors, the scraps after beer is brewed, the discarded shells of crops. Dried, ground, and pressed into kibble until the bag feels full, but the bowl is hollow of real nourishment. For your cat, eating these fillers is like you living on packing peanuts. They fill the stomach, yes, but the body remains hungry, aching for true fuel. And what's worse, some of these fillers can carry hidden dangers. Mold toxins that damage the liver, pesticide residues that wear down tiny immune systems, heavy processing that turns potential nutrients into ash. Have you ever wondered why some cats, even when fed enough, still look dull in their eyes, still shed too much, still seem restless and unsatisfied? Often the answer isn't love missing at home. It's real food missing in the bowl. Because fillers are not food. They are placeholders. And your cat's life is far too precious to be filled with scraps of industry waste. Number 6. The silent preservatives. If you've ever wondered how a bag of cat food can sit on a shelf for months, even years, without spoiling, the answer lies in something invisible: preservatives. Now, some preservation is natural and safe. But in many low-quality cat foods, the methods are far from gentle. Chemicals like BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin are often used. Substances linked to cancers, organ damage, and cellular breakdown. So harsh, some of them are banned in Europe. And yet, they still slip silently into the bowls of cats around the world. Your cat won't taste them. They won't smell them. They'll just eat and trust. Because to them, the bowl you set down is a gift of love. But inside their little bodies, these chemicals whisper harm. Slowly, quietly. Not in a single meal, but in the daily rhythm of feeding over weeks and years. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? That something so small, so hidden in fine print, could chip away at the joy of a creature who only ever wanted to curl up in your lap. The labels may say, added for freshness, but freshness should never cost a heartbeat. And when your cat gazes up at you with those timeless eyes, they deserve food that nourishes, not poisons dressed as protection. Number 7. The illusion on the bag. Picture the front of a cat food bag. A glowing piece of salmon, bright garden peas, golden grains, maybe even a sunny meadow in the background. It feels like you're buying health, doesn't it? But those pictures are paintings, not promises. What's inside the bag rarely matches the feast on the cover. That juicy chicken breast? Often replaced by byproduct meal. Those fresh vegetables? Reduced to powdered fillers with almost no nutrients left. That shiny fish? Sometimes nothing more than a sprinkle of artificial flavor. It's marketing magic, a trick designed for our eyes, not for our cat's needs. Because let's be honest, your cat doesn't care if their food is shaped like fish or colored like carrots. They care if it's real. They care if it gives them the strength to leap onto your lap, the energy to chase shadows, the health to purr against your chest for years to come. And yet, many of us, with the purest love in our hearts, have fallen for the illusion. Not because we don't care, but because we care so deeply we want to believe the picture is true. But here is the truth. Love is not in the packaging. Love is in the choice. The quiet decision to look past the colors, the shapes, the smiling cats on the bag, and seek the simple honesty of real food. Let's take a breath here. I know this journey is heavy and maybe a little painful to hear. Because all of us at one point have trusted the pictures, the promises, the words on the bag. But remember this, you are not to blame. You chose that food because you love your cat and because you wanted to give them the best. That love is still true, still pure, and it's the very reason you're here right now, listening, learning, and protecting. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed your cat doing something that made you stop and wonder, how do they know what I feel? Maybe the way they curl against you on sad days. Or how they sit by the door before you even return home. Tell us in the comments below, what's the one little thing your cat does that makes you feel deeply loved? Your story may be the comfort another cat parent needs tonight. Because here in Meowsphere we're not just learning. We're building a family of people who know that cats are more than pets. They're quiet guardians of our hearts. The saddest part about poor cat food is that the harm is rarely sudden. It doesn't shout. It whispers. And those whispers steal little pieces of your cat's life, day after day. They may begin with something small. A dullness in their coat where once it shone like silk. A little extra weight that slows their leaps. A touch of tiredness where there used to be endless play. But slowly the body begins to carry the burden. Kidneys straining to filter out toxins. The liver fighting against chemicals it was never meant to meet. Joints stiffening, eyes clouding, moods changing. You may notice more vet visits. More medicines. More worry resting on your heart. And yet all along your cat still looks at you with the same eyes of trust. Because they don't know it's the food. They only know you, their world, their comfort, their love. And this is why learning the truth matters. Because with better choices we don't just give our cats food. We give them more years to curl on our laps, more nights to purr us to sleep, more mornings to meet us at the door. Love cannot stop time. But it can make sure we don't let harmful food steal it away too soon. Number 8. Turning toward hope. What true nourishment looks like. After all these shadows, let's step back into the light. Because while there are foods that betray trust, there are also foods that honor it. Real nourishment for a cat is simple. It doesn't need rainbow colors or fancy shapes. It needs meat, true wholesome fresh meat. Chicken, turkey, rabbit, fish, the kind of protein their wild ancestors thrived on. It needs gentle preparation, not high-heat rendering that burns away life. It needs clean fats that shine in their coat and fuel their little heart with strength. It needs water-rich meals, for cats are desert creatures who often forget to drink. And most of all, it needs honesty. Honest ingredients, honest sourcing, honest labels. Have you ever noticed how your cat's eyes gleam after eating something real? How their body moves with more grace, their play returns with more fire, their purrs seem deeper, fuller? That is what true food gives back, not just health but joy. Choosing better food isn't about perfection. It's about love made visible. Each meal, a quiet promise whispered into their bowl, I want you to stay with me healthy and strong for as long as life allows. Final reflection. So here's the truth wrapped in gentleness. Your cat doesn't need perfection from you. They don't measure love in brands or judge you by the past choices you've made. All they know is this, when you bend down to fill their bowl, it's an act of devotion. When you stroke their fur, when you whisper their name in the quiet of night, that's the world they live for. And now, with open eyes, you can make each meal another way of saying, I choose you. I protect you. Not with fear, not with guilt, but with love, simple and steady like the rhythm of their purr. Your cat doesn't care about glossy packaging, bright colors, or clever words. They care about time with you. Time to curl up, time to play, time to gaze at you with those eternal eyes that seem to know your soul. And by giving them food worthy of their trust, you're giving them more of that time. More mornings, more evenings, more quiet, sacred moments together. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. To your cat, you already are their whole world. Call to action. If this video helped you feel even one step closer to your cat, we'd love for you to stay with us here in Meowsphere. Like, subscribe, and join our little family of people who see cats not just as pets, but as soul companions. And in the comments below, tell us, what's the one moment your cat made you feel truly, deeply loved? Maybe it was a quiet purr on a hard day, or the way they chose your lap over every other place in the world. We'd love to share some of your stories in our next video, because together we can make this space a home for every cat lover's heart. Until then, give your cat an extra gentle scratch tonight. And remember, when you look into their eyes, you're looking into a universe of trust.